I welcome you all to the SEO Film Festival 2023. Today, for the first session of our engaging intellectual interaction, we have a panel of distinguished officials and film professionals. The topic of this discussion is filming in India, simplification, incentivizing, and promoting Destination India. The Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, through the establishment of the Film Facilitation Office and its website, created an ecosystem for filming in India, which has made filming in the country easy. This is a proactive attempt by the ministry to create linkages between the global and Indian film industry and the various government agencies that are stakeholders in filming. Subsequently, the ministers also announced attractive incentives for international productions and official co-productions in 2022. This session aims at discussing the various aspects of the ministry to further the Film in India initiative. We are honored to have amongst us as moderator for this session, Mr. Nitin Ahuja, CEO, Producers Guild of India. Mr. Nitin is charged with championing the cause and spearheading the development of the film, television, and new production sector in India. Let me extend a warm welcome to today's panelists. Firstly, let's invite Mr. Prithul Kumar, Managing Director, National Film Development Corporation Limited and Joint Secretary Films, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Government of India. It is my pleasure to invite the second panelist, Dr. Avinash Dhakne, IAS, Managing Director, Maharashtra Film Stage and Cultural Development Corporation Limited, Government of Maharashtra. Please give it up again, guys. The third panelist is Mr. Arfi Lamba, CEO, Bombay Berlin Film Productions and producer. Bombay Berlin Film Productions have been in media business for over a decade. I would like to thank you all and let Mr. Nitin Ahuja take this session forward. Over to you, Mr. Nitin.
Thank you. Good morning and welcome to this session. So let's just get straight into it. And I think you forgot to introduce Mr. Aashish Singh.
Sorry about that error. Last but not least, allow me to invite on stage Mr. Aashish Singh, an independent content producer who has a vast experience of over 25 years in content production. Welcome, Mr. Aashish.
Thank you. So I think it would be nice to start with Prithulji. Prithulji, we are aware that the central government is looking at inviting and further promoting production in India. And towards that end, I think a national incentive scheme was announced recently, I think at Cannes this year. So can you just take us through that and also what other initiatives the government is taking in that regard?
So let me just give you a very brief roundup of what has been happening in this space from the government side. So initially it all began in 2016 when the government decided that we require a film facilitation office, especially with a view that, producers from outside can come to India and shoot. They can find co-producers here and do a content co-creation. So that is how it all started, and then we started a portal in 2018, correct me if I'm wrong with the dates. So that portal is up and functioning. We also onboarded the states onto it. About 16 states are already onboarded. So they just not, give their own incentives, which are given by the states particularly, but they also showcase their filming locations. So anybody sitting outside in any part of the world, they can explore Indian states, Indian locations, and find out whether it is feasible for them, and find out an appropriate location for it. So that's how it all started. And then the need was felt that we also need to support filming in India with the help of incentives and of course the co-production also. So in 2022 in Cannes, we launched this co-production and incentive for filming. That was up to an extent of 30% of the qualified expenditure which they do it in India, or 30% of the co-production amount. So that has been really, really received well by the industry, and people are coming forward and looking for it. And this is going to be apart from what the states offer. So states are also going to offer more, and all of this was done by the government, understanding the very fact that there is a report, I think, which says that every dollar spent in this gives you $6 back. So, you know, in terms of promoting your shooting locations, promoting tourism for that space. So that all factored in mind, that is why these incentives are given. And we are trying to further simplify it. I'll just tell you what has been done till now. And now the next steps is that we have engaged now through NFDC only, we have engaged Invest India, which is the government's primary arm, which looks after all the investments inviting all the investments into India. So you know, they were more better placed in terms of, you know, talking to outside embassies and through them getting a connect with various producers outside. So we have given it to them, and the first steps which they are taking is that they're promoting the way forward in all the countries with whatever available infrastructure they have. And we have also asked them to remodel the whole portal. So the portal that now it is established, but then, you know, it only deals with central government clearances and central government co-production approvals. We wanted that, you know, a film producer who's coming to India, he should be enabled that this should be the only portal which he is needing to come on. And with this, he should be able to get those states incentives also, states permissions also. So all of that has to be integrated. So we are working on that through a national window portal system which is being established by the central government. So we are collating all of that, and I think in a 1 year time, you're going to see major changes happening in this space, and a major facilitation steps will be taken in. In fact, you know, in this SCO film festival where we were talking to other countries, the idea has also come up that why not just stop at the states? Why just stop at filming in India? That there are people in India who are wanting to go outside and produce and do that. So we will integrate globally also in some time. So, but this is the concrete plan, is that first of all, we've already laid the foundation of getting the entire India canvas on a single portal. So I hope that it's going to come up well.
Thank you, sir. That's very encouraging to hear. Avinash ji, Maharashtra obviously is no stranger to shooting. In fact, it's pretty much where the film industry began. So from the point of view of Maharashtra government, as also Film City, which you also head, what are your plans to further attract filmmakers to shoot over here?
I mean, since beginning, Maharashtra was leading in this media and entertainment industry, and most of the shootings also used to happen in Film City itself. All those big names were seen, and even in the rural part of Maharashtra also. Issue is, I mean, the business has grown and people need more space. And we also want to promote tourism side by side, because there are some unseen destinations. But suppose areas like Melghat in Amravati or Nandurbar, the Satpudas, I mean, if you want to really shoot that kind of a culture, and where, I mean, no vehicle can reach. I mean, you have to walk at minimum 12 to 15 kilometers. That kind of areas are still there. So, I mean, but how do you take these people to these places? Because there are no toilets, there are no, I mean, basic amenities are not there, there are no hotels. So now we are coming up with a policy, Maharashtra Film Policy 2023, wherein all these kind of things will be taken care of. I mean, all those latlongs will be given, which is the place where they can stay. Because I was just reading some, I was 2 days before I was in my hometown in Ahmednagar, I was reading 2 articles on films. Those, I mean, that I don't remember name now exactly, but Devanand and Sharmila ji and all that shoot it near Shirdi in one farm actually, and they stayed in that farm. And even today, that fellow, that was 1968, पूरा गांव अभी भी वो याद निकालता है, जो बूढ़े लोग हैं कि देवानंद जाए थे, हम इतने दिन उनके साथ में रहे थे. So all these kind of memories are there. But अभी हो सकता है कि nowadays जो private people है, तो there is no connect. So we are introducing that as well. Whoever thinks that his farm, suppose it's a pomegranate farm, it's a grape farm, whatever, I mean, strawberries, whatever. So you give your या पुराने जिसके बड़े बड़े घर है गांव में, तो उस टाइप के लोकेशंस भी हम अभी वी पुटिंग अप ऑन आवर साइड. मेरे पास अभी तक ऑलमोस्ट 150 आ गए हैं और आई एम एक्सपेक्टिंग एटलीस्ट 500 ऑफ देम. कि थोड़ा सा और पब्लिसिटी करने की जरूरत है, सो दैट आपकी स्क्रिप्ट की अगर जरूरत है तो दीज आर द थिंग्स व्हाट सर हैज राइटली सेड. सो महाराष्ट्र गवर्नमेंट बाकी about your single window system, it is operational in Mumbai. You really get permissions within time, all police and municipal corporation also. Another 17 districts we have onboarded just this month only, and some more departments. We are coming up with policy wherein like many other states have done that, no charges and minimum security will be provided, government guest houses, whatever we can do, because till now, since intervention was not required, we are also sitting idle. So now time has come that Maharashtra should also do something. So within next 2 or 3 months, policy will be announced, and work is already going on. Meetings have happened. And Film City, of course, you said I'm sitting in Film City. Studios are old and all that. You might ask, somebody might ask me question that what happened to that redevelopment plan? It is also on. Unfortunately, last time there were some issues. That is why we couldn't get good response from the bidders. But this time, we are changing whole structure of that. So certainly that will happen, and Chief Minister, Deputy Chief Ministers, and our Culture Minister, everybody is briefed properly. Chief Secretary also. So I think in another 2 months' time, tender will be out. That will be different kind of a tender. So this time, I am sure that we'll get response, and this Film City will have everything then, like from 5-star, 3-star hotels to dormitories to studios to visitor area, whatever we see in the world outside. So that kind of development is possible. Around 211 acres of land is possible to build on, because the rest of it is forest, and that serenity we don't want to lose on, because that is our USP. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So one very interesting thing that you mentioned, that even decades later, people still remember in that small village near Shirdi. I think that is a very important part, the role cinema and basically content plays in promoting destinations. And there are numerous such examples in India itself, that Bobby Bungalow in Gulmarg, how that 5 minutes footage in 3 Idiots has totally brought about a new economy in Padgong Lake in Ladakh. Tourism to Spain increased, I think, multifold just after Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara. So I think maybe as a thought, we can even look at involving the Union Tourism Ministry at national level, also local level, to see how some synergies can be built.
I forgot to tell you one thing, because that is another part of it. That suppose you want a certain area, a certain kind of, I mean, for your script, you want water body with birds or whatever is your idea, and if you give it to us, that facility I will be starting this month only. So we'll give you some options, because मेरे पास अभी ऑलमोस्ट 2000 लोकेशंस के महाराष्ट्र के फोटोज और कुछ वीडियोस भी है. सो मैंने टूरिज्म से कुछ लिए, बिकॉज आई वाज डायरेक्टर टूरिज्म 10 years बिफोर. सो मैंने उस समय काफ़ी सारा करके रखा था वो सब मटेरियल. सो आपके स्क्रिप्ट को जरूरी है, और आप हमें बताएंगे कि अगर आपके पास ऐसे कुछ है तो बताओ. सो वी विल ऑल्सो गिव दैट एज वेल, या ढूंढ के भी देंगे. थोड़ा सा प्रोएक्टिव हम उसमें भी रहेंगे. थैंक यू. सॉरी.
Great, sir. Aashish, you've shot pretty much all over the world, and also, of course, extensively within India. So a couple of questions for you. One, just a general primer on what is the producer looking for when he decides to shoot outside of his home base? And secondly, any international best practices you've seen all over the world, or in fact, indeed in particular Indian states, that other people can emulate and learn from?
Thanks. Good morning, everybody, and thanks for having me here. To answer your first question, as to how a producer plans shooting outside, say if the producer is based in Mumbai, how does the producer plan shooting wherever, whether in India or abroad? It's primarily driven by the script, of course. So if the script requires an Indian location, you obviously scout for Indian locations. If you're looking for an international location, if the script demands a big city like New York, London, whatever, I mean, definitely it's script driven first. But having said that, what's become very important, apart from the creative and the content requirement, are incentives ease of shooting, rebates, all these play a big role in producers' decision about shooting wherever they do. Like for instance, if you're looking for an international location, rebates have become so important now because with a rupee actually depreciating, unfortunately, it's become really expensive to shoot abroad. And these rebates play a big role in getting you money back. So for people who don't know how rebates work, typically if you shoot in a particular country or a state abroad, you get a percentage of your expense back. So it could be 20%, 25%, 30%, which is a huge amount when you go abroad and shoot. And then there are countries like UK that actually give you rebate on the actor's fee, on the director's fee, on the producer's fee, on the technician's fee. So that's a huge win for a producer. Like, that's why you hear so many films, even from India or from Hollywood, are actually being shot in UK. Because imagine a Top Gun being shot over there, and they don't shoot the outdoor. They're not shooting it as London. They're shooting in a studio in London. The reason for that is you're getting money back not only for your cost over there, but on Tom Cruise's fee also. Same applies for the Indian producers. When you have, say, a film with Mr. Shah Rukh Khan or Mr. Akshay Kumar, who charge a lot of money, of course, and when you get a rebate on their fee, that's a big bonus for the producer. So the incentive, the rebate, plays a huge role in planning. Coming back to India now, obviously ease of shooting is very important, and thanks to FFO and a lot of the initiatives taken by the government, I've seen a major change in the last 5-7 years in terms of attitude towards shooting, each state wanting to compete with the other state to bring in a film unit, which is very good. This used to happen internationally earlier. Like, I'll give you an example. When I was associated with Yash Raj Films, and when we shot Chak De India in Australia, we had already zeroed down on Australia. But there was a major bid between Melbourne and Sydney to pull the film to that state. So that's the kind of competition we need to create. And it's a fair competition. It's not that you want to outbid the other person, but that kind of creates the energy and the synergy for the producer to feel, oh wow, I'm so wanted. And finally, we ended up shooting in both the states. Similarly, this has started now in India. We have states competing. We have UP coming up, Gujarat coming up, all of them, MP. I mean, name the state actually. Most of the North states have become very proactive. They come and meet us, they have rebates in place, they have incentives, they have single window clearance. Of course, Maharashtra I'm not discussing because we end up shooting here. And FFO is playing a major role in this, even to attract international producers because of the portal that Sir spoke about. It is so exhaustive. It competes with one of the best in the world. So it becomes very easy for a producer now to plan your shooting. You just go on the net and you see everything. You get all the details. You have all the locations mentioned on the FFO website. You have what each state is offering you to shoot in the state. So whether it is single window, whether it is a rebate or an incentive, qualification, guidelines, everything is there. Line producers, names of people you can associate with. So it's become very easy in the last 5-7 years for a producer. So to answer your question in brief, first is the content demands where you have to go. Secondly, ease of shooting and rebates and incentives and how easy it is to shoot in that place. Second question, which is really important, while we are still doing a great job in reaching somewhere, what are the better practices that we can follow from international markets to make us even better? Not only for the local producers, but for international producers, which we need to draw in. So with my experience at Yash Raj Films, and we've discussed this earlier, at Tigers, when we shot Tigers in the Hair in Austria. Okay, now Yash Raj Films used to be shot in Switzerland, we all know that. But Austria, which is a neighboring country, felt like, why are they going there? We also have the same Alps, we have similar locations, we may be a little cheaper than Switzerland. So they came and approached Yash Raj and said, what do you all want? So they already had a rebate at a government level. Film Austria had a rebate that applied to all the international units that used to come over there. But what Austria has done very smartly is they have a rebate at a country level. They then have rebates within the states, like I spoke about earlier, where they are like kind of wooing, each state is wooing a producer to come in. And then they have a rebate, a very small rebate for each city and town where you shoot in. So what Austria did was they not only got the film in Austria from Switzerland in a way, they then, there's a state called Tyrol, where most of the Bond films are shot. They approached us and gave us a small rebate to say that, come and shoot in our state. So what you're getting from the Austrian, the country rebate, you will get. But you will get a rebate from our state also. And then there's a small town called Innsbruck, which may be the size of maybe Andheri, much smaller actually. Then they came up with a rebate saying that, shoot in Innsbruck and we will pay you this much. And it was very, see, the rebate that came from the state and the city was not huge, but probably was enough to cover the ticket costs of the unit, which also runs into a lot of amount. And for a producer, it was like a free income, free revenue, more assurance in terms of ease of shooting and everything. The only thing they asked in return is a marketing deliverable, like 1 6 to 7 minute film with the actors speaking about their, how much they enjoyed shooting in the country, what did they like about it, the technical crew talking about it, director talking about it, choreographer talking about the ease of shooting and how they enjoyed it. And now they have it for life. So they have Salman sir speaking over there, Mr. Salman Khan's clip, they have Katrina's clip, they have the director Ali Abbas's clip, a clip from Yash Raj Film saying that how easy it was. And that's a huge asset for them. At that time, it costed them only this much. And in any case, that revenue came in the country, right? It's not that they paid out of their pocket. The money did come in the country. So this is something that we should be aiming for. So like in India, we've reached a point where the states have started competing. Now within states, now just to give you an example, if it's UP, we know that there's a Taj Mahal in Agra, but there are some benefits in Banaras, there are some benefits in Lucknow. So how can those cities compete with each other to say, you know what, you're coming to UP, but now come and shoot in this city? And what extra can we offer, whether it's a marketing deliverable, whether it's hotels being discounted, and all these are manageable. I think that's one big learning that we need to do to be really specialized and bring in more international projects, or even if we are looking at with states kind of competing with each other to bring films out. I think that's one aspect we can look at.
Thank you. That was very, very insightful. Arfi, similar question to you. What do you look at while deciding on a location? Also, since you do a lot with foreign productions and crews, is there anything specific that you look for which maybe an Indian producer doesn't look for?
Hi, thank you for having me here. Thank you everyone and good morning. Sir, primarily what Aashish sir covered, it's the ease of shoot. The best part about India is, sir, like Maharashtra, you were saying that a lot of locations are not known. I remember when we were shooting Love in 2015, our director's very specific about what he wants. So this Sandan Valley, if you know. Sandan Valley, mein, sir, around 15 years, there was drought, there was no rain. So we all thought we'll go there without being prepared for rains, and we descended down the valley with all the cameras and everything, and we started shooting, and it started raining. After 15 years, I still remember that, we took all the crew up, snakes started coming out, probably all the things, all the creatures which had also not seen rain and were living there, everything started coming up with us. 4 घंटे रुक के बिना किसी equipment or rain के cover के, because we were just in the valley. We had to wait and we had to go down again and shoot. So, but after we shot in that valley, now Airtel has shot ads there. So many people have opened up that location. Now the village around, which of course we were the first ones to go there and ask help from them, has now made bases for people to come and shoot. So as a line producer trying to bring productions from abroad, I think the first thing that you need to do is, like sir is saying and like FFO is doing, there are locations, so many unexplored locations in India. You need to go and research. Tomorrow when a location slide comes to us saying that they want to shoot these kind of locations and they are looking for those locations, we immediately first say yes and then sit down and do the homework. Where can we go? Like we know Northeast is totally unexplored. If you see Bhedia by Varun Dhawan, and Meghalaya towards the end looks way better than what Avatar looks at some points, and that's without a VFX budget. The location is so beautiful, but ease of shooting is not there in Northeast even now. To reach there, is complicated and all of that, So those things add to your budget. That's why you can't explore those locations. We have J&K that has opened up. That's very beautiful. India has every possible location to shoot that you can, and I think it's a big country. If we can't access Northeast, there'll be something else that we can access. So as a line producer, what you should know is, as a back of hand, your own country, to where you can go, how expensive or how cheap that can be. That's one. Second, FFO's incentives. Earlier, we'll go abroad and, we'll try to tell people that bring shooting here, or we like to be co-producers with you. And everybody will say, what are you bringing on table? So Indian producers like Guneet Monga or all others who've set the tone up for us would have to put in their own money as a co-producer, because co-production happens when you put in your own money. Right now, government's rebate is one thing that helps independent producers like us who are small and, do not, at times cannot put their own money up for artistic films, that we have a rebate in the country that will help attract more productions here. And other than that, like Aashish said, it has to be the ease of shooting. It's about the crew. Do you have talented crew there? You can't take everybody from Bombay and make them sit there. Why MP is working so much is because there are a lot of talented people from MP who would come to Bombay and shoot. And now suddenly everybody has found home. MPs, so many shootings are happening, people are getting trained there. Same is the case with UP or Rajasthan, because so many shootings will happen there, people are trained. You need trained crew, you need equipment. These are the primary things that India needs to make focal points for. Like for Northeast, entire Northeast, I think Calcutta is the only major point for equipment that we have. Those things, the more we shoot, the more people will invest, the more it'll expand, the more government will support them. It'll be, India will be ready for any part to be shot in, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. As is pretty clear, incentives, I think, are a pretty important draw for producers. And I think Prithul ji, it is a very, very welcome step that the central government took by announcing the national incentive. But so it's a very hugely competitive market. And as Aashish mentioned, UK has an above-the-line provision which makes a lot of Indian films are being shot there and they're shooting as if they're shooting in India, cheating India over there rather. So are you open to revisiting the incentive as you go along and making it even more competitive?
So what you said is actually we are working in that direction already. That there have been demands like our incentives are limited to 2 crores to 2.5 crores at the best if you've got the manpower also there. So maybe for a small budget film, that's okay. But say if you're talking a budget, a Hollywood movie, typically like, if you go up to the extent of Top Gun Maverick, that's nothing for them. They will never be excited about this kind of offer. So there have been, people telling us that you need to have a flexible incentive. It can be according to the budget of the movie also. So that ultimately, if something is featuring, which is getting pictured in India, maybe, it'll enhance the tourism as we have all discussed here. So that's one thing, we are already looking at it. Yes, I can just assure you for that. Another thing which I want to ask every one of you, I'm sorry, I'm hijacking your role also here because, it's so important right now that we understand that we are on a cusp of technology where shooting in India is also going to be maybe overtaken in some time by creating in India. So now the VFX, the visual effects technology is becoming so strong that you can have a catalog of locations to shoot for and when you are shooting in a green room. So with that, maybe, how important will it still be to propagate your locations? I need an answer from you guys. How important will it be to showcase your locations for shoot in India? And vis-a-vis, how important or how easy will it be, how cost effective will it be for producers to catalog it as a background to create anywhere in the world? So, what is tomorrow going to be like? More for create or more for shoot? I think some of you can pick up this question and answer.
Aashish?
So, sir, my personal opinion, while it's easy to replicate VFX and you can create everything, but you just can't create the original world, and purely in terms of technical lighting and that feel of being there. Just to give an example, if I discussed Banaras earlier, you can't create Ganga everywhere. You can't create those boats everywhere. You can take one master wide shot, which will be VFX. But finally, when you have a character walking in the Ganga, or you have maybe him immersing somebody's, whatever, last rites or whatever, typically what we see in our films, that cannot be replicated without being on the actual location. And thirdly, obviously, there's a cost involvement. So every film cannot afford that, without a doubt. What can happen is, what you're talking about can definitely happen for, there are some films where you need it very briefly. So, like a spy film, okay? You have, even if you see Pathaan now, maybe it's just released, everybody has not seen it. It travels to different countries at a script level. But it doesn't mean that they've gone and shot in those countries. They've taken some master shots from somewhere and then replicated it somewhere. But, these things will continue happening. If you want to shoot like, say, Taj Mahal, and show one actor just walking in front of the Taj Mahal, that can be replicated. Because you shoot a plate of Taj Mahal, you come in the studio, but if you want to extensively shoot a chase scene, showing the location, showing everything, that's tough. That's tough to do, at least in the current technology. And again, there'll be a cost factor. If tomorrow they decide, for whatever reason, to shoot it in London only or in New York and replicate India over there, there's going to be a huge cost. And that probably will not make sense if it's like an extensive shooting or an extensive part of the film. But for 2 days or 3 days, that's happening even now. Even as for Hindi films with smaller budgets than Hollywood, we're already doing that.
I'll add to that, sir, that, I think when we go for bigger productions, like if you want to bring Tom Cruise here, so we definitely have to have locations also, and we need to have those studios with LED screens. I mean, he's one of the few actors who can jump from wherever and do his own stunts, but rest of the actors, Indian actors and all, we need that LED screen from where they jump, and for those stunts, you call a bigger production, you try to give them a 360 thing that, they don't go back for a studio. So I know that Poland right now is giving rebates for land, take the land free outside Warsaw and just invest and build your LED studio. So they are giving land free to anyone from anywhere. They are building that up, that LED technology. So at some point we'll need that. But like Aashish sir said, you can't replicate the locations. When you need to have a romantic scene and two people have to walk into those woods, you just have to make them walk into that actual scene and do that.
On the subject of incentives, Avinash ji, I'm sure this is the 10,000th time you've been asked this. Any plans to introduce incentives for non-Marathi content?
See, what happens is, when you are at the top, you don't worry about the competition. But now time has come, because I will not comment on political things, because I'm not here to do that. But of course, थोड़ा ये तो आ जाता है, complacency तो आ जाता है, but now we have to remove that complacency, get rid of it, and we'll think about it. But issue is, so many films are there, so it has to be, I mean, cash incentives के बारे में we'll have to really think much, क्योंकि उसका जो बजट होगा वो it will run into few hundred crores, तो इसके लिए थोड़ा सा चल रहा है. But whatever best other than that we can give, certainly उनको पैसा सपोज बाहर जाने के बाद ज़्यादा पैसा लगता है तो नहीं लगेगा. Whatever best we can do, I mean, so many things, because I can't tell everything here, since it is going before cabinet. That's why I can't tell everything. But certainly our Hindi film industry will be also happy. And I'm expecting that even South Indian film producers should also come here. So that kind of policy should be there.
Thank you, sir. That's good to hear. Moving on to the final portion of this discussion, which is the promotion bit. Prithul ji, what efforts are you taking to promote the scheme, especially to foreign filmmakers who may not be aware of it? The incentive scheme specifically.
Promoting the
incentives,
incentive. So that is essentially through FFO only. So, and now as I told you that we have given it to Invest India, which is already doing the promotions for all the sectors of India outside. So they're going to bundle it up together to all their clientele so that, people can invest in filming. And of course, Indian film industry has created a niche for itself with so much of content getting out in the international market, with a lot of Indian films being popular now. I think it will be, people would like to, I'm saying from the point of view of investors, they would be liking to invest in India in this sector itself. I mean, maybe, he's doing some other business, but he can pick up this for in Indian context. But I'll also take this opportunity to tell you one more thing, which is here I got to know, talking with my international jury friends and other friends, that, in India, the penetration of Hollywood in terms of revenues is about 20%, like 20-25% is the revenues which Hollywood films which were released in India, they take away. While in China it is 70%, in Russia it is 78%. So they were asking, how has Indian government being able to, protect their industry? So which I said, we probably didn't do much, but I think Indian industry has done really well for itself to, the content which they created and the way it performed. They have been able to, withstand all that Hollywood also. So it's all a matter of pride for the Indian film industry, I'm sure.
Thank you, sir. Avinash, and then you, Arfi, anything you would suggest that the government should do to promote this scheme abroad? Any forums they can look at, any platforms?
Hello, sorry. So FFO as a portal has done a mind-blowing job, according to me, because I actually know the day they started and they started meeting people, your team started meeting everybody to understand what's happening. I think it's fantastic, that portal. The only thing maybe you can add over there is little more localized. So while there is a rebate for guideline for each state, there's no list of the line producers of that state. The line producers also are specialists in a particular state. So there are few who do it in UP, few in Punjab, few in Rajasthan. If you can add that, maybe it'll become easier for people who have very direct questions. Otherwise, an international producer can always approach the likes of you and everybody. But I'm saying for a local Indian producer, and especially when we're talking about South, I think a lot hasn't been done to woo the South producers to the North to shoot. And they don't know about these rebates also, because in my experience at Laika, people didn't know that UP has a rebate, other states have a rebate, you know, and they wanted to shoot. And there's a certain resistance to say that, I don't know how it will be, whether they'll be transparent or no. But we all know it is one India and the intention is good only. And there are a lot of nice people and nice producers, line producers willing to help. That is one thing maybe we can look into. Secondly, sir, while you were talking about rebate, and I think Tom Cruise's name came up repeatedly, we have a tax treaty with certain countries. So I just recommend if you all can look at those countries, what is UK doing actually with India? When we talk about money coming back for the actor's fee, we are not reading that they actually deduct the tax. When the actors paid from a UK company that a producer kind of co-produces with. And when XYZ is paid in India, they deduct 20%, like RTDS. That is called FEU. And that has come to the government. What have they done? Nothing. The shooting is happening, actors being paid, 20% has come to the government, and that then comes back to the producer. Producer feels great. I got 20% back, and wow, what a great rebate. So this is something that we should explore. At least the countries where we have a taxation, and that tax gets offset, right? The actor over here can get it gets offset against his income. This is something that we should seriously look at. So if we have a tax treaty with UK, we do. So maybe we can encourage a lot of films from UK where you can actually look at giving, as an exception, you can look at giving back some of the amount on the above the line costs, the actors, directors, if they're based over there and if they're filing the taxes there. And you will be deducting taxes, we'll be deducting taxes here, right? So maybe this is something we can seriously look at.
I also feel, sir, that forums like Berlinale and Cannes are very important. You know, I know that every year in Cannes and in Berlin, there's a European Union locations lunch or locations party. So we end up going to that one place. They have food, and you know, you get to meet every location governor or the person handling the locations for any of the country. So from India, you know, we have UP, we have many states that are offering so many rebates now. Maybe we can take people, or FFO can represent them, and we should do a small tea coffee thing in Berlin, in Cannes. I'm sure once we put that on our schedule, a lot of my friends who are international producers who want to shoot in India, they look at the schedule, what India is doing. They can all come for that tea. There we can announce our scheme and policies. People will get to know more about it. The more we talk about rebates, I think we did a fantastic job in Cannes by opening the Marché du Film, and that definitely put us in focus. But the more we talk about more rebates we are doing and what all we are doing, it will attract more productions back in India. We are not very expensive country, touch wood, the rupee may be falling. You know, we are still, our productions here are like, it's not like we are going to Europe where in Berlin or Paris, which is becoming impossible to shoot. So we can attract a lot more here, and you know, if we do events and if we spend some money there, some focus that side in festivals, that'll be great.
Thank you. Are we doing Q&A or so? I think at this point we can open the floor up for questions if any. I think if the panel was so clear and concise, there are no questions to be asked. So at this stage, I think we pretty much covered. I would like to thank everyone for your wonderful and most useful insights. And thank you to the audience. 10:30 is a pretty strange time to be discussing stuff, but thanks for making it. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we come towards an end of this insightful session. I thank the panelists for sparing time and the delegates for being participative. Thank you.